What do you think? May not look like it, but I took a big chunk of my beard off. It was looking a little mountain manish. I think it was time. Am I pretty yet? Hello, you beautiful people! Sin City Yeti here, or David, or Yeti, whichever you prefer. And I guess it's time for me to jump back into a project with my handy dandy Create This Book. Wow. I'm sure some of you saw the poll that I had put up where I had asked which page would you like me to do, and a lot of you answered, and I'm looking forward to seeing what I can create with that page. I'm a little stumped at the moment, but might be able to come up with something. I can't wait to get started in this again. I'm hoping I can get 3 pages done. If I go back to the first one, technically I only did 2 because, you know, the front, back cover, and then, of course, the inside cover and the first page. Like, technically, those are only just 2 separate pages. At least that's the way it would count if I was doing any prompts. So I would like to do 3. I'm shooting for at least 2, but I would like to do 3. But in order to get that done, I guess I need to stop talking. You don't want to see my face. You want to see what I can create. So let's get to it. Okay, so Create This Book 2. I think it's time for some prompts. So we're going to go ahead and start with the very first prompt. So my idea, so I could get lots of prompts done and kind of bounce around at the same time, because I really kind of want to, is I'm going to go in order for 1 prompt each video. So whatever the next prompt is the one I'm going to complete in the video. And then I like the idea of having you guys kind of help me out with prompts. So putting up a poll with some different prompts, or maybe even you guys suggesting some prompts and voting on them. And, you know, the top vote will be another prompt that I'll do in that video. I would like to do 3 prompts in this video. I don't know if I'm going to get to the 3rd one, but I was thinking if I do an extra prompt that I could also do a random number generator and pick out a prompt. I thought that way I could still bounce around like I want to, still go in order to make sure that I'm not just getting all the fun prompts knocked out of the way. I'm kind of liking this and vibing with it, so I think this is how I'm going to do things. Do 1 in order and then random for all the others. I think that's a great idea, so that's what we're doing in this video anyway. Now on to the prompt. So for this prompt, new beginnings. Well, new beginnings. My mind goes all over the place for new beginnings, but thanks to my astronomy major in college, one of the first things that my mind went to was a whole new world. A whole new world. Okay, that's enough. Anyway, yes, a whole new world. Because, like, you can't get much fresher of a beginning than in a whole new world. And so I kind of went towards, what did life look like on Earth before there was anything else? What was the first kind of life form? I didn't want to go like the very first life forms, because that was just amino acids and maybe single cell life organisms, which aren't going to be as fun to draw. I could just say, like, look, there it is in the painting. I've already made it. Do you see it right in there? Yeah, no, you don't. No, because it's not fun to paint. But of course, it wouldn't be a video without my left hand doing its thing, because, like, look, there it goes. I really need to get something to have it hold. It wants to hold something. It wants to do something. Anyways, I am creating this world with some features based off of stromatolites. They are a simple life form. If you're from Australia, you're probably familiar with them because there's a beach that's filled with them, or at least the fossils of them. So we believe that these are some of, like, the oldest remnants of life on Earth that we are aware of. And I thought that would be great for a new beginning. They're kind of cool looking. They give it this, like, primordial ooze feel, or the primordial soup. That's what they used to call it in the 90s cartoons, right?
This is where it all began. The primordial soup! Ah! Ooh! All of history crawled out of this bubbling cauldron.
I'm opening up a can of primordial soup. Yep, that's it. That's where we're going with this.
soup.
And then, of course, to tie into the cover page to show like this is still the same world, there's the sister planet. I have no idea what I'm going to do with the sister planet, but I do like that there's a sister planet. Maybe I could do it in Create This Book 1. Like Create This Book 1 could be the sister planet we're seeing in the sky of Create This Book 2 and vice versa. Ooh, idea. I'm going to have to get another Create This Book 1 since, I don't have one. It is different. I'll give it that. I like the direction this is going. I like the colors and how they're all playing with each other, which I'm kind of digging. I'm having a lot of fun with this. It's kind of opening up my imagination. I'm going, like, how would it look? I'm thinking shallow waters, bright sunny skies. Goodness, I got all tongue-tied and lost my place. All right, found my place. All right, stromatolites. Okay, so we're talking about the stromatolites. Now, not all of these are based off of stromatolites. Some of them are definitely like old cartoons talking about the primordial soup. It was always like this little cauldron thing that was bubbling and colorful kind of thing. So I definitely was pulling inspiration from that to go along with the stromatolites, creating these different structures that would house the different life forms. And then I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and outline all of the words right in the middle of painting everything else. Gotta make sure everything's all readable and looking nice. And gotta include the correct date because I started the book technically April 13th. And my goal to build a world for my creatures. Then the other thing I wanted to include in this were the prototaxites. So they're not perfect, and we don't really know exactly what the prototaxites look like, but they were kind of the first super tall structures any life form had formed on Earth. So before trees were even a thing or even thought of in Earth's history, at least that we're aware of, there was just a lot of ground cover plant life, and it was very close to the ocean. But at some point, the fungi started taking over and started moving inland. At least like the last time I did any kind of research into these, they broke up the big rocky inner land masses, and they're just these giant fungi. They're like trees, but no branches, just prototaxites, like these long columns coming out of the ground, breaking up the soil, which gave way to the plants to move more inland. I thought that was also kind of cool and to include in this. I know they're in the water and they shouldn't be in the water, but I'm making up a world here. I can do what I want to do. That's the whole point and fun of this book. And pulling inspiration, right? You see something, you're like, that's kind of cool. I like that idea. I want to use that idea in this thing over here, which for me, that thing was within the water. I thought it would be kind of cool. And I like the color that it gives and the depth. It definitely, like the little bit of orange and yellows in it, really make the blue of the water pop. So here I go, like adding more of the detail work in the stromatolites. Really liking the way that they're coming along. I did think I had too many of them, so I kind of reined that number back in, that kind of thing, which is fine. I am very happy with them, the way that they're looking. It definitely gives this ancient primordial soup vibe. But anyways, now we're moving on to the little creatures. I love these little creatures. I think they're so stinking cute. I love the way they came out. I was really worried the blue wasn't going to stand out enough against the water, but I couldn't think of another color to do them. Luckily though, with them sitting and playing on the orange cauldron things, like they do pop a little bit more, and they're so cute. I love them. Look at this page. To build a world for my creatures. What do you think? Does this look like it's going to be a world for my creatures? I think so. I also got a little nod in there. You'll have to let me know if you can guess what the little nod is too. But now it's time to go on to the next prompt, and this is the prompt chosen by you all. Look at this. Create disproportion. I was a little stumped, not gonna lie. I was kind of confusing it with I don't remember what I was confusing it with. Distortion. I was confusing it with distortion. Disproportion, distortion. And they're kind of similar. I ended up combining them, but you'll see what I mean. And I think I got an idea. So I'm going to prep this a little bit because I don't want it bleeding into the other pages of the book. I also don't want the pages getting stuck together. That is a concern of mine with using acrylic paint, because acrylic paint, once it dries, it likes to be one. And if the paint drips over the side of the page onto another page, then it's going to make multiple pages one. Don't want that. So I'm going to protect it with some parchment paper, and I'm going to be going in with a landscape. I got the sky sky down and I'm creating this rocky mountain landscape. It was feeling kind of cold, so I embraced that. Decided I was going to go ahead and add some snow to the mountains, give it more of that cold feeling. It feels like you're in a desolate land. I like that. I'm gonna run with that. I can't just leave it all gray and white. I gotta add some more colors, but I really want to keep the colors toned down and neutral. I want to embody a few things with disproportion, because disproportion also means different things in art as it does in our everyday life. Like, you know, somebody could have a really big head and their head is disproportionate to their body, but in art, you can have a disproportionate amount of color. So like if one section of the painting is super colorful while the rest of it is like grayscale, you got a disproportionate amount of color. And if there's not an equal amount of balance, that disproportion becomes more noticeable. So I kind of want all of those aspects of disproportion, the everyday life aspect of disproportion, as well as the artistic meaning for disproportion. But I do still want some more color, especially in the foreground of these mountains. It's going to help with the depth. So now I'm just kind of fixing up some of the mountains, just nitpicking kind of thing. And then I was like, well, you know what, with the snow, I feel like I need to have an overcast. The blue's just too blue. I want to dull that blue down with just peaks of it peeking through, kind of help really give it more of this like desolate landscape feel. I'm now bringing in some more of the foreground. I'm going in with more of a lighter yellow, the golden brown color, to kind of just help add more texture, make it look really rocky, look really dead, like no life, absent, void. And I kind of like the way that this is going. But now that that's there, I got the landscape pretty much done. The background, I need to start working on what my subject is going to be. So I'm kind of mapping it out and I'm starting to see what I want to go for. And I'm kind of also like pointing out to myself right here, like, you just painted all these mountains and now you're about to cover them. And while part of me is a little sad when I paint the background and then I paint over what I painted, like it makes a little part of me sad. At the same time, it makes me a little bit more happy because the background feels more cohesive to me in that way, as well as it makes my ADHD brain happy to know that like the background is there. Yep, look, there I go. I'm covering a whole bunch of the painting up because like when somebody's looking at you, they can't see the background behind you in real life, but the background is still there. Like same principle in my head for the painting. Like I can't see the background because whatever the subject is blocking it, but it's still there. I know the background is still there. So with the subject, I wanted to kind of like, I was feeling desolate and dead of a background. So I was like, let's go with that. I'm going to create this skull. And I wanted to go with a complementary color to this yellow golden rocky landscape. I was a little iffy with the purple at this point and was like, did I just mess it up? But I just kind of pulled away from the skull. Like, all right, if I'm not feeling this yet, let's move on to a different part of this idea. And the dichotomy of life and death was coming up with disproportion. Like there's a disproportionate amount of death to the little bit of life I want to put into this. And something with life is water. You need to have water. So I make this river flowing out of the mouth of the skull. And then I went in with this tiny landscape around the river. I thought it would be really cool. Like you have this giant skull, or at least it looks normal size, but in comparison to what I'm now painting, it's giant, and a little forest growing around the river, like teeny tiny forest. I thought that was a fun idea. I wanted to explore it a little bit with disproportion. And now that I'm adding in the other colors, I'm starting to like the color of the skull. The purple, I'm glad I didn't paint over it. It's starting to feel like it belongs. I like purple. I wanted it in this picture. And I'm just adding in all sorts of little tiny details into this forest. I want it to feel alive. And one of the things with landscapes to help them feel alive is there's lots of colors. And even if it's just like a solid green landscape, if you're looking at a forest and it's just green, there's different shades of green. But I didn't want just green. I wanted all sorts of colors. So I'm going in there with like little red bushes, little teeny tiny hints of flowers throughout the trees, in between the pine trees, kind of brightening up the water, making it almost feel like it's under the sun while the rest of the landscape is all cast over, cloudy, desolate. And I really like that. It created this fun like contrast between each other, this disproportion between the two. They're clashing. Going in with the skull, creating like all the little details in the skull, adding the highlights, the lowlights. How am I going to make this feel alive even though it's supposed to be something that's dead? And I'm just kind of having fun with it. I'm really just getting lost in all of these details. It's one of my favorite things about creating is just all these little details and like starting it and like, all right, I'm gonna do these teeth. And as I'm working on the teeth, and then all of a sudden I realize like 2 hours have passed and I'm like, wow, I got lost in the details. It's always fun. And I went in with the yellow base for the teeth, a much brighter, happier yellow to contrast the background, the desolate area of the background. Also, because the skull is purple, if you go in with a light yellow, the purple's gonna make it feel white. Love color theory for that reason. Adding more of these little details in the skull, just kind of playing with it, bringing it out, letting my mind explore and wander. And then I was like, you know what? Like with this tiny forest, let's make a tiny mountain range. So now I got this giant mountain range in the background, this tiny mountain range in the foreground. I felt like it was missing something and I wanted like a living creature. And I was kind of seeing this frog in the landscape. Loved the idea of that. I was like, yes, let's go with that. We're gonna bring out this frog, especially because like I've had something similar in a prior artwork pop up, this little guy right here. So maybe he'll become a reoccurring creature in some of my artwork. And then I wanted to do one other element that just kind of felt a little out of place along with this frog. So I thought, birds, we can have birds flying out of the forest. So I did a super tiny bird down at the very bottom and made them gradually bigger. And then I'm super sorry I couldn't finish that last bird. I did not realize that my camera had died, and yeah, I apologize for that. But here's the finished product. That was the last thing I added, was just this little bird. I love the way that these two are looking. I know you all can't see in the video, but it's so hot. I had to put my AC up. It was 101 degrees in my house today. But I at least created some cool art. What do you think? Okay. I know my video came out a little bit late. But because it's late, I got a bonus for you. So, let's get to it. All right, JK. Since the video's late, I should give you guys a bonus. And we're going to go ahead and do another prompt as a little apology for a late video. We're going to make it 3 prompts. So we got these first 2 done. And now I need to figure out exactly how many pages are in the book that I can do. I don't want to do the final page because that's the final page. I'm going to save that for the very last. So we're going to go from 1 to 199 for all of the prompts, and it looks like page number 146. All right, 146. Let's see what I'm going to be working with. Create a difference in altitude. On this page, display something you find underwater. On this page, display something you find in the sky. All right, so a difference in altitude. I think I can have some fun with this. I like this. So we're gonna go ahead and bring back the parchment paper and I'm gonna go in with black. One thing that is common between both like the water and the sky is blackness, especially when you get down into the very depths of the ocean, deep sea. No light can penetrate through the water to that depth. As like within space, it's just so empty and void. There's not anything giving off light. There's not enough stars. You're not close to any of them. So I wanted to go ahead and tie those 2 things together. It's an easy bridge. I'm taking it. Sometimes the easy route is the best route.
The solution to your problem is simple.
So we're gonna go in with the blacks and finish up this page. And I'm going to start mixing up some colors and figuring out what I'm going to do. One of my favorite things to paint from space are nebulas. So let's go ahead and start creating some nebulas. I went in with a really nice cerulean blue. Cerulean blue is one of my favorite shades of blue. I thought it would be a fun color for both a nebula and possibly tie in with what you can find in water. Also, I just realized, like, yes, I know I covered up part of the prompt. It was just taking up too much real estate. I wanted the whole page, as much of the page as possible. So I just left the base prompt. And I'm just going in with these different nebulas and kind of thinking about, like, them as creatures. Adding in different colors, going in with, like, a purple and a darker blue. Then I wanted to accent the purple with a pale yellow, a pinkish yellow. And with those colors, I'm kind of just playing with the details that I see in it. So like the different shapes that I'm seeing, I'm kind of like reinforcing those shapes and trying to now envision what could these be? What kind of creatures are they? These creatures of the sea and of the sky. And I definitely like took the deep sea thing and started running with it with this nebula. And as I'm adding in all of the additional colors of nebulas, I'm starting to like bring out these sharper details of these creatures that I'm starting to see. They're really starting to look like creatures. Although that one in the upper left is looking a little clown-like, and I don't like that. So we're gonna change that up a little bit. I didn't want to do clowns. Not that I don't like clowns, just not the vibe I was going for in this. And then I felt like I needed some extra little creatures to go along with these bigger creatures, and I'm just getting lost in these details. Now I'm doing more sharper details instead of like the blotted nebulous like shapes, kind of actually going in with some line work and bringing the shapes to life, bringing these creatures out that I was seeing. I am changing that clown one. I just wasn't feeling it, so I'm gonna add in a couple extra like little tentacles off coming out of the side of the head and get rid of that one nose, maybe turn it into an eyeball, give it some extra fins, and I'm having a lot of fun with this. These creatures are literally coming to life before my eyes as I'm painting them, not really knowing what I'm gonna do with them, what they're gonna look like, and just creating them as I'm going. This was probably my favorite of the pages I created this time, at least like the process of creating the pages, especially since it's also a bonus. Like I wasn't expecting to get this page done, and I am now getting it done for you all. Yeah, I really like this. It's just super unique. Of course, you know, like there's some different inspirations. So you got like a sea slug, a brittle star, plankton, jellyfish, regular fish, angular fish, anemone, and like a blobfish Cthulhu looking creature. I don't really know. Like I kind of had this idea of a whale, but it didn't look like a whale. And then like I saw these tentacles coming out of it, and it was just reminding me of Cthulhu, but I was like, Cthulhu's kind of a sea creature, so that kind of works with this. And I just felt like the only thing missing were stars. I needed to add in a ton of stars, and I love this. This looks fantastic. I'm so happy with the way it came out. All the stars, it looks like it's in space, almost like you're looking at constellations, but I'm kind of obsessed with this. This was such a fun piece to do. So all right, now that I got these three done, let's go ahead and do the final review. Okay, so now that there are no more delays, the video will be going up on time. You all got an extra prompt. That means 3 prompts done. The book is coming along. I am very happy with how it's looking. We got the cover, back cover, inside cover and front page. And then the first official prompt in the book done. The prompt picked by you all done, which I love this prompt. This is a good prompt. And then a prompt randomly picked by a number generator done. I don't know which is my favorite. I really like this one. It looks so unique. But also at the same time, this is pretty cool too. I love the way this one looks. And then of course, like the first prompt, got the little nod to Pokemon up here. I wonder how many of you recognize that. And of course, like, I love these little guys down here. They look so much like baby versions of this guy. So maybe that's where they come from. They come from the ocean. I don't know. It's developing. I'm creating this world, all right? So, yeah. I look forward to the next one. I'm really happy with how it's looking. You'll all have to let me know how you think it's coming along. Any prompts you think I should tackle? Maybe I'll put them up in another poll and let you all pick another prompt. So, yeah, let me know down in the comments. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Be safe, don't get lost, don't get stolen. And, yeah, bye, you beautiful people.